Hey, what's going on, y'all? MillerTech Pro Nick LeBrun here, and today I just want to kind of share a little advice with you when it comes to pitching and flipping with a Texas rig or a jig. But when using a bait caster, pitching is a technique that will get your bait in there nice and subtle, not a big splash. It's great for just fishing shallow, fishing cover, and it's one thing that's really just been solid in my career. So when it comes to just the basics, you've got your Texas rig or your jig or whatever your bait you're using in your hand, and you're using your rod as just leverage to just kind of swing the bait out there, okay? And it's easy once you get the hang of it, but the key in the early stages is when you're learning not to make a big splash, okay? You've probably seen people set up a bucket and bring the bait way up in the air and drop it in the bucket as practice, but that's really not correct because that would be creating a big splash. So you want to think about your bait traveling parallel to the water, low altitude, and you thumb that spool at the last second and that bait just stops and slides in the water real nice and slow, okay? So just to kind of show you how it's done and give you a few more little tips here, right here we've got a tree that's kind of leaning off into the water, and this is a perfect example on when to use a pitching technique. And so I'm just gonna kind of pitch it in there, thumb the spool, and let the bait have a true natural fall. When I know the bait hit the bottom, I'm just gonna work it a little bit. And I don't like to beg them to bite, I just like to give them a chance and go on to the next target. So I might make another pitch to a different area of the same tree. I'm gonna let the bait get in there nice and smooth and quiet, hit the bottom, give it a few shakes, and I'm gonna come on into my next target. Now, one key tip that I wanna mention is when you pitch in there and your bait hits the water, you wanna drop that rod a little bit. Because by dropping that rod, that's gonna allow that bait to have a true natural fall, okay? And what I mean by that, let me just demonstrate. Let's pretend that this rod is a tree. Your bait lands, by dropping your rod, it falls straight down. Now, if I were to pitch in there and just click my reel and hold my rod up, that bait would land and it would pendulum out toward the boat. And you may not ever even get down to where the fish is in the heart of that tree, okay? So when your bait lands on the water, drop that rod and let that bait have some line feed to it. That way it'll fall straight down, okay? And whenever you're pitching, bait caster, fluorocarbon or braid, I like to go 20-pound fluoro most places, but it's a great way to get in there, do some hand-to-hand combat with these bass, okay?